Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions, 4 p.m. BST on a Thursday. I'm not sure if I could say it any faster without tripping over my words. Joe is back. Joe, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about Google's Core Web Vitals. It's Google page speed and how it's going to affect ranking and coming soon.
Cool. Before we get into that, do you want to let people know what you've been up to this week? I'll share to the groups and then we can get into it.
Oh, yeah. I've been real busy. I'm working on my big push for the coming year is going to be list building for sellers, help sellers build their lists off of Amazon, and just getting all my people ready for this whole Google thing and some marketing stuff that I'm doing to build a site into a marketing machine over the course of 6 months.
Excellent. Cool. Then let's get into this. Do you want to just break it down? Obviously, it's related to page load times. We can literally finish the show now, get your page load down. But ultimately, what's involved here? I know what's involved, but let's break down to the audience what their requirements are between now to doing, script, optimizing the page weight, all these different things that we can do in the kind of tool. So walk through the overview of while Google is doing this. And then we'll break it down step by step in what to do to optimize.
The most important thing that everybody has to keep in mind is that this is mobile based. A lot of the tests, you have a choice between mobile and desktop. Forget about your desktop scores. They can be stellar. It doesn't matter. You have to have the scores on desktop. So it's called page speed. And it's, people think of it as how fast your website loads. And that's really, page speed has nothing to do per se with the actual speed of your website itself. It has to do with the responsiveness of it, how soon people can use it as it's loading, and page speed. So there's multiple parts to it. So it's always been there in the background. Most sites take 10 seconds to load. Your mobile site has to load in 3 seconds and be usable as of May of next year. It seems like a lot and it's a little bit of work, but the thing is 99% of websites out there don't load in that time now. Shopify does not come that way. WordPress does not come that way. Wix does not come that way. Out of the box, none of them do. That's the big thing.
Well, you got on WordPress, you've got CND, haven't you? The Content Delivery Network plugins were there. I'm not sure on a technical level, but that's what my team uses.
Yeah, it still takes a lot of work. I mean, I've had my website for 3 years, and I just now got the desktop under. I got it to 1.2 seconds on the desktop, but I don't have the mobile yet. Mobile, I'm at like 3.3.
So well, straight away, we've discussed this before because we've seen the data on it, and both of us hate them. Sliders, top of website sliders.
Get rid of them. Carousels. Bye.
Get rid of carousels, and there's no data that supports them that they're any good. They drag your pages down. They might look sexy. The designer might say this works, but it doesn't. It's horseshit. They should never be used. Too heavy on the scripts and everything else. And so first things first. If you've got a carousel at the top of your site, it's about as useful as a chocolate ashtray. So that's got to go first, get it out the door, because that's going to bring your weight down instantly in terms of script and the size of the images in there. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because I have a couple of people I have to tell that to.
No, it's true. Go to Conversion XL blog. Go and read the data on there. This is by Pep Larger. He's the godfather of conversion optimization. Great blog. Look through the archives because a lot of that stuff is still standard issue today. Some of the things that he developed. And there is an article in there. They're talking about sliders, the death of websites or something like that it's called. And they've gone through and asked various different people, and there's absolutely zero proof why you should have those sliders other than they look a bit sexy.
Yeah, your slider will take 3 seconds itself.
Yeah.
So page speed, and so from a standpoint of looking at the whole thing from big picture out, not even touching anything yet, it starts with your host. Your host has to be using up-to-date state-of-the-art equipment. That eliminates GoDaddy. GoDaddy stopped updating their architecture in 2015. If you're on GoDaddy, you'll never get below 3 seconds, unfortunately. But it's what it is. I'm on SiteGround now, and I dropped my page speed 5 seconds when I'm moving from GoDaddy to SiteGround a year ago. which is crazy. In one day, I dropped 5 seconds loading time, which is nuts. But then, so having a CDN like Cloudflare is ahead of the ball game right now. They have some things they've just developed that are one of them is the reason why I got my site where it is. It's specifically made for WordPress. It caches your whole site, and it puts copies of your site on its data centers all over the world. So no matter where you are in the world, when you pull up the website, it comes up fast because it's local. That's huge. So right now, Cloudflare is the furthest along in getting this stuff done. They work with Shopify. They work with SiteGround, which is what I use. They have not kicked in for Shopify yet. I'm not seeing those times down on Shopify, but Shopify gave developers until the end of January to get their apps in line with the new Shopify infrastructure. They really cannot do anything until that's done. So I wouldn't expect anything big from Shopify until February. But still, if you have a Shopify site, make sure you're on the newest version of the theme. If you have a paid theme, update it to the newest version. If you haven't updated it for several years or several versions, you're really going to be remaking your site because there's probably been that many changes in the versions. I have several people going through that. But then you're starting out with the thing about Shopify and WordPress, when you install plugins and you install apps and then delete them, they just take it out of your dashboard. All the code is still there and it's still slowing down your website. Shopify's change last year in June was to modulate everything. So now, as of January 31st, you install a new app and it goes in a module. So when you uninstall it, the module goes by and it doesn't obliterate your website. WordPress hasn't made that announcement yet. I don't know if they're going to or not. I don't know what their plan is, but there's enough things with WordPress where you can work it down. Shopify, WordPress, all those themes, all the files come with all the code for all the bells and whistles. So if you're not using those bells and whistles, you're still loading all that code. That's the problem. That's a huge problem. I mean, I have one file where 80% of the file is unused, and I need to clean that code out. But as a business owner and as a person that owns a website, what we need to focus on is making sure that our images are the right size when we upload them. Make sure that you're using image compression. Make sure that you're not using multiple copies of an image with different names. So just use one name for it. Make sure you're hosting your videos on a video hosting site, so it's not slowing down your bandwidth. So like these podcasts and stuff, you shouldn't host them on your own site because you'll kill your bandwidth. You want to host them anywhere else, CDN, a video site, whatever, but just not on your own site. Things like that. You just need to look at the size of the deliverables that you're giving people, that load into the page. Those are the things that we can and sellers need to control. Make sure that, part of this also is making sure that your SEO is in line. Make sure you don't have any broken backlinks, because that slows down the page load because it's looking for stuff. Make sure that if you're supposed to have an image come up, the image is actually there, that it's not broken. That stuff's really, really important. So really from now until May, everybody should be looking at just streamlining their stuff. If you wait until April to start, you're going to get raped by web developers. I mean, it's going to be a web developer's wet dream come April and May because so many sites won't know what to do, and they're going to be desperate. So I suggest that you start early. Start now before the prices go up. The prices are going to go up, for that kind of work. It's going to go through the roof. It just is. That's what happens, unfortunately.
What would you recommend in terms of page loads? I'm just going to quickly demo one now because I think it's important so people understand what they're also looking for or what they're optimizing. Let me just
You want me to pull up their test and show the results and stuff?
Well, I'm going to use page speed insights. I mean, you got Pingdom, and there's a few, and a lot of them want to charge you, and they've got a queuing system. But I think the other thing is, like we're explained, hosting images, having a content delivery network, etc. But also when you're working with developers is to make sure all of your scripts are optimized, because I don't think people realize how hungry they can be as well. And ideally,
that's the problem.
When we're talking, right, okay, so if people come to a website, they'll make a decision within the first 10 seconds generally, right? That's their...
3 seconds.
Well, the decision making of someone may scan the page for 10 seconds. Ideally, you want it to be a second or below to load the page. Why? Because if it takes 10 seconds to load the page, you're going to end up losing out on the customer through the page load time. So that decision making within that 10 seconds is evaporating because it's taking 8 or 9 seconds to load a page. And
the light already turned green at the stoplight. They're already driving again.
Yeah. So let's have a quick look. I'm just having a look at the seller session sites here at the moment. Ooh, not very good looking.
That's
not very good.
That's why I offered
my developers on this one. What's the page load time on this? Time to interact 21.24. First content painful 4.5. Speed index 15.7.
So you got all red tags there, huh?
Yeah, I got a load of red tags on this. This is, I think this is also for mobile as well. So it looks like desktop is all right, but the mobile needs to be sorted. But even like with our website, we're sitting there having a conversation. This is why I like to have these kind of open conversations, because no one's perfect. So I'm having a conversation with you and I'm thinking, fucking hell, does my website load all right? I've taken a look and now I need to get that shit sorted.
I've been working on mine for a year. And I just got the desktop where I want it to be. And the mobile's still I need somebody to clean up my scripts, really, is what it is. So I use Thrive themes, and it's just like everything else. It comes with all the bells and whistles, and I don't use them, so I need them removed.
What else has guys got to take into consideration as well?
So there's a couple different sites like Pingdom, GT Metrics. They're actually better than the page speed site for giving you hints and helping you get better.
Yeah.
So if you run your site through like Pingdom, if you run it through Pingdom and one other, there's what is it called? It's called Web Page Test. So it's that actually will give you optimized image files. That it'll say, hey, this image is too big. Download this because we fixed your image for you, and then upload it to your site. So they'll actually give you and tell you how to correct stuff. I mean, page speed does the same thing, but it's a little more convoluted because it's Google. So it's a little more techy, and it's a little harder for the average person to understand. But GT Metrics is really good because you can create a free site and it retains history.
Here you go. All right. So I'm just pulling up the page here for the benefit of the people on the website listening back. So the load time, look, 2.21 seconds. Yeah. So it's got a D grade here of 64 and it's still quite heavy at 6.6 megabytes. But again, at the top of the website there's a lot of imagery and stuff that goes along, and we use rich images on the pages. So improved page performance. You can
see all those Fs. So all those, if you open them up, it'll tell you.
Do you know what this looks like? This looks like my score reports. Lots of Fs. Decrease the number of components on the page, reduces the HTTP request, blah, blah, blah. What was the thing I was looking about? Response codes. Yeah, so this breaks down into the content by size. This is really important. So you can see here, the script here is 25%. XHR is 39%. Images are 24%. So there's probably a bit of work I can do here with the images. You can shave off another 8-9% before the images start to break up, because
the images on my site make up 60 to 70% of the load time.
There you go. But then you've got to see how heavy, what scripts you're using, right? So for me, it's like we've got we're using the API through Libsyn, for instance, on the data on the Seller Sessions website, because we pull the podcast instead of now writing show notes.
Okay, so something that I do that works really, really well. You see fonts up there right in the middle?
Yeah.
I removed all the fonts from my website. I have no fonts on my website whatsoever that load because everybody's computer has standard fonts and they're all the same. So I know that all the base fonts that I'm going to use, Open Sans, Roboto, Sans Serif, all that regular stuff, they're on everybody's computers. So I don't load a single font because it just defaults to whatever you have as your default on your computer, which most people never change that. So it's going to default to what I told it to use anyway. That right there is something that because fonts take a long time to load. Don't ask me why, but Google, things that come from Google take forever to load, which makes no sense.
Isn't their kind of work like images, third-party fonts outside of the standard web set is what drives it up, where they're using fancy fonts that way? Is that what it is?
No, it's even basic fonts. It's even the basic fonts.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I removed was Facebook chat. You'll never get under 3 seconds if you have the chat widget on your website. It's just not at that point yet of being fast enough. The Facebook pixel, all that stuff really is ridiculous because it adds a ton of extra time to your site. So I just have the bare bones of third-party tracking and stuff. I got rid of Hotjar. All I have is analytics, the Pinterest code, and the Facebook code. That's it. I got rid of everything else because because you're graded on third party, you get a lot of third party weight. So that would be, where would that be? Expire headers, cookie free domains. That's normal. Compressed components with gzip. See, compressed components with gzip is about 25 characters in your htaccess file. Right. It's just a command that your guy needs to add. Fewer HTTP requests, that sometimes can't be avoided. I have the same thing on mine. It's just the more stuff you have on a page, the more times it's going to need to request different components. If you get everything else down, that's the thing. If you can get everything that you can get down, then your bad things aren't so bad. Because you've got
as you can see there, right, it looks, don't look great, does it? Loads of fucking F's on the screen. But realistically, it's still under 3 seconds. The work to be done to correct that down to bring it to 1.5 should be quite straightforward. And anyone can get a developer to fix those issues to a point, right?
Yeah.
But like you said, as soon as you start having hosting chat, that they kind of weigh down the websites as well. I'm not sure if there's any way,
it's
give an example, like your chat bots and also customer service tools. The
ManyChat box that opens up on a lot of websites when you first get there and they ask to help you. I mean, that's part of customer service. It's just not, it hasn't been developed enough yet.
What I'm saying is, so we're not misquoting, would something like ManyChat beat up, because I don't know, but would something like ManyChat bring stop that from going below 3 seconds, for instance?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, ManyChat was 2 or 3 seconds of my time that I got when I got rid of it. It just bounced back down. Really surprised me. Now by May, I would think those companies want to. I mean, this is their business. I would think that by May they're going to do a major change themselves. It's change or get left in the dust. That's the thing. If they don't change, they're going to lose business.
Yeah, of course. And do you know what we haven't got into? We've talked about that you'll be penalized, but what does that look like? We're talking de-indexing and everything else. Should we get to that part?
Yeah, well, they're saying...
Before we forget, because we've gone off on and rated our piss poor sellersessions.com, but I thought it would be a good example. But equally, we've got to say, what are the issues? So you've got the Shopify site, for instance, and you're doing quite well. Maybe it's 25 to 45% of your overall sales. It's important that you don't get taken out of the game like that. So
Google's saying that they will de-index your desktop and your mobile if you're not passing the mobile scores. Right. So your desktop can be fine, and they will de-index you. Now, by May, will they still be holding to that? I don't know. I really kind of think that there might be a witch hunt if they do. But you never know. I mean, they've been putting this off for years, just like Amazon with their rules. They announce it, then they put it off. This has gone on for a long time. They're not going to put it off anymore. I really don't see them changing this. and they've been changing the search algorithm as well. So it kind of goes hand in hand with some of the changes to the search algorithm that they've been doing, with just getting rid of keywords and things like that, which is interesting. Excuse me.
Is there anything else you want to cover before we go? I think we pretty much touched on everything. So just to recount, work back from May, use Pingdom, use these page load tools, speak to your engineering team or third-party people, do that sooner rather than later.
So if you're going to hire somebody to do the work yourself, go to a site like GT Metrics, because GT Metrics really gives you the most information, and run your site through GT Metrics.
Okay.
And get a free account so that it saves it, because then you have a benchmark to measure what they've done versus what you had. Because when you go in it not knowing, what you had to start with, they're going to blow smoke up your butt, and some of them are going to rip you off. That's the first part. The second part is 99% of the websites out there are not going to pass. Don't pass this. Yeah. So no matter what, if you're in place by May, your ranking's going to improve. If they follow through and delist anybody, your ranking's going to improve, and it's your opportunity to get in there. It's just like on Amazon, when the top couple sellers get suspended or whatever, the people behind them have a chance to get in there, get those sales, and solidify their position, depending on how long those other sites are down. Get yourself in there, get ready. If you see your ranking all of a sudden improve the beginning of May, I'd hop on the marketing train and put some money in marketing to boost your traffic, to keep that ranking. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Cool. Let me actually go to the comments. Don't want to skip out on these. Yelchin says, hello, great guys. Cyb says, hello guys, just about to update my Optimised theme to try and allow for the speed to be, theme to try and speed up, I think he means, but heard some horror stories from Google indexing going AWOL 5 to 10 days. So if I was going to repeat that back in English, because I tripped over my words, basically he's scared of updating his Optimised theme, coming down, spit it out. I need to get some sleep. And he's worried about doing so will fuck up his indexing. What's your opinion?
So Google's had a couple indexing hiccups in the last month or so for one reason or another. They're not as bad as many people think. What really has been the greater impact is the Google search algorithm changes. That's what's affected more sites, because as always, Google's always making little changes to get rid of the slop, and to make the results better. Google is not keyword focused anymore. It's phrase and query focused. So therefore, it's quality content. If you want to win on Google, create quality content. Don't just regurgitate crap. It's really what it comes down to.
Cool. Yelchin says, I am in a SiteGround and a Google domain. GoDaddy is terrible. The worst experience I've ever seen on the internet world. Okay, so that's more of a statement, but yeah, GoDaddy, probably not your go-to, if in all honesty.
Shame too, they're right down the street.
Cyb says the main issue, or the main load speed issue, I can't even fucking speak today. The main load speed issue will be predominantly to do with mobile sites. Desktop is pretty easy to fix.
Yeah, the problem is desktop doesn't matter.
Also, good morning, guys from Wellington. Welcome back, Wellington. Right, before I actually lose my tongue from talking, because I just keep tripping over my words. Go on, you finish off the show, my friend.
Google Analytics, Google Search Console. Connect them both to your website. Search Console gives you a ton of information about all of this. It's connected right to Google, and it is really a great place to start. I use Search Console every day. I use Search Console with clients because it will tell you what pages rank for what keywords, by page, by keyword. That is the most important thing you can get out of it.
Excellent. Okay, we'll finish there. Next week, Monday, Inspired with Belle. So Isabella will be back. So she'll have her guest in. We're also bringing in Kevin King on Tuesday. He's going to give us an update on some stuff that he's been working on. Some of you guys might have seen it recently. I won't give away the surprise. He'll be in on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we're doing a round table of authors within inside of our community that have written books and ranking with books and stuff, because I think it'd be a good idea to discuss this with regards to things like ebooks and stuff, and maximizing revenue out of associated products with your physical product. Yeah. So you've published a few things, Joe, haven't you?
I'm getting ready to publish my first book.
Okay, maybe we'll bring her on next week.
I'm working with I have a workshop that I wrote all about publishing books, and there's a ton of money in it. It's insane.
I'll probably bring you on for that next week, because it'll be a round table. Okay. Then on Thursday, Kian Gulzari is going to be back, and we'll be talking Chinese New Year. And I'm adding an extra day for Friday because it's Seller Session 600. So I'd like you to come back for that. And it's 60 guests in 60 minutes.
Nice.
All right. So guys, off now. Thank you for your time, your ears, and your attention this week. I'll be back here Tuesday. Bella back Monday. Take care of yourself and your family. Joe, thank you very much. And I'll see you soon. Take care.
Ciao.